Alright, this is Sean Osborne with West Side Power Wash. So there, that's us. Whole lot of bad stuff there. So we're doing a reef wash this morning. So I'm going to kind of go over how I set everything up. So I'm going to run the, it's called a double eagle. It was made by a guy in the industry that actually isn't doing this anymore, but he made some really good stuff. And these are double or twin, whatever, Remco 7 gallon per minute at 100 psi, and the pressure switch is actually up here. It's very well done. You get your readout, what your pressure is. You can see what your how your volts are doing on your 12 volt system. This is the on-off switch, button, whatever. Dual breakers. Anyway, this is the blend manifold. It's a pretty dirty roof, so I'm going to run a 50-50 mix. So I've got my chemicals all the way open and my water all the way open. Right here is a 3-way valve that I can switch over to water to, you can see it there, but to run up once I'm finished with the job. I can flush all this out with water, because that chemicals will eat up all this stuff eventually. So, but for right now, we're running them both wide open. And here's a different option if needed. There's a P40, which we can run that if, I don't want to say it was a really dirty area that needed to be done that's far away or not reachable with a ladder. Anyway, I've got the Manta reels, they're Stingray reels, AC lockers, incredibly nice stuff. Anyway, I'm running through the manifold on this setup, 3/4 manifold, and it's plumbed right to the 12 volt system over on the other side. Same with my water line. Actually, I've got a leaky seal in that filter there, so I actually pulled it off over to my auxiliary feed. I can dual feed, and also switch this down, and it goes over to my filtration system for DI water, for washing windows, pure water. Anyway, so have this hooked up for the water supply to the house. That's 3/4 to 100-foot sections, because it's pretty far back there. 200 feet of 5/8 soft wash hose. I don't remember what brand. Flex. There it is. Flex Tech. I've got these wire, or the line all spread out in a way, some would say flanked, may or may not be the correct term, but so once I get up onto the roof, this one's nice and walkable. I'll be able to pull this hose and not get tangled up. Hose management's a big deal, especially if you're going to be up on a roof. Got the ladder set up nice. I have these shoes here. They're for walking on roofs. Whatever brand that is. Not bad. They're like $125, $150, something like that, as opposed to Cougar Paws, which I've never used, but I'm sure they're great. They're a little more expensive. All right, well, I'm going to put my shoes on and hop up on the roof, and I'll get back with you. Before I get on the roof, I wanted to show you one more thing that I do. So I can't remember where I ordered this. I ordered it online. I think it was a link from, I can't remember. Anyway, you can find it online. But it is plastic. Another good thing about these videos is you can point out damage like this that clearly I've not done anything or sprayed anything or whatever. And that is just water. But it looks like something was spilled there by a different person. That wasn't me. Anyway, same with that. Although you try not to have a lot of runoff on these roofs, it does happen. So what I do is that is 8-inch diameter plastic tubing. I tie a tight knot at the bottom, kind of calculate how much I want to be prepared for on runoff, and another thing is to tape it to the downspout, because you don't want, say this bag gets full and it wants to roll or pull off of there. I mean, you can just imagine dumping all that bleach onto that, right on all these bushes. Here's another. This house has a pretty big front roof, and it's split between these two downspouts here. So you can see I've got another, this is a bigger one, but again, it's taped. And back here especially, this whole back roof is going into this one large downspout here. So I've got a bigger bag here. And what I'll do a lot of times is, if there's a decent amount there, I'll just pour it on here, on this concrete, and it'll clean that concrete instead of just wasting it. It still has a lot of power or strength left in that bleach. A lot of it's used up, but it's not zero. You can see there's nothing on this side. It's all on that other side there. So, almost forgot the video, per usual. So, what we're doing is just putting down a nice, even, very soft wash, as you can see. Just kind of a mist. So there's no damage to anything really. So all that prep work is for this moment. Look, these people even get a free chimney wash. Look at that. It's pretty bad, so it wouldn't take me any time or money or whatever. So if you can do something like that, I do it. A lot of people say not to give away anything, which, you know, I can understand that, but I feel like it builds a good customer relationship. So, just a lot of this. Make sure you get it all nice and saturated. A good friend of mine answered a question one time when they asked how much do you, or when do you know when enough is enough on this? And his response, which is pretty good, and I've used it, is think of though you are saturating a sponge. So you can mist like the top of a sponge, and yeah, you got it wet, but it hasn't saturated into the sponge. So I hope that makes sense the way I'm saying it. I might probably butchering a little bit, but that's how I like to look at this, as though I'm just not drowning it, but I'm really saturating it. Not getting a lot of runoff. Another thing is, you notice that I did the bottom first, and I like to think that helps catch some of this top stuff running down. Not sure if it does, but I think it does. It's certainly not hurting anything. So I do a little roof inspection too while I'm up here. So I will take a picture of that and show them. There's another spot down by these, in between these two valleys down there is a spot I'll show them also. So, just kind of being a good contractor, trying to be. Look, I get another. We got 2 chimneys, and they both get cleaned. Oh. Oh. We got a nice soaking rain last night and into this morning, so that helps a lot with getting all the flowers and all that stuff pre-rinsed. Plus, obviously, I pre-rinse, and I will post-rinse. And these people are getting all kinds of bonuses. Look at this. We got a skylight cleaning. Yeah, I might have to up my bill on this one. Not really. Sorry if the video is a little bit long, but I do want you to see the full process. See, it's actually not too difficult, but there's certainly some things you want to take into consideration when you're doing a quality job for people. And the bulk of it is property maintenance, or protection rather. There's that other spot I was talking about. See, it's foaming up nice. Another skylight cleaning. Some wind. Bleach in the face for you. I'm not wearing any PPE outside of my boots. Take what you want out of that. So you can see a difference from where it's been cleaned, or where it's been sprayed and where it's not been sprayed. It's a nearly immediate change. Again, I'm going pretty hot here. See the difference there. I painted myself in a circle here. This is where they get a little slick. Be careful. Okay. Easy to miss area. Oh, that dude did not like that. Sorry, dude. Carpenter bee should have been at work anyway. Yeah, it didn't work, I don't know. Edges, right up on those. This side isn't as bad. You're going to have that. You're going to have the north side that is always going to be worse because it doesn't get the sun burn off. The south side, well, the other three sides do. Got a picture where it shows this. I've got this roof and this angle of the roof and this angle of the roof in the same picture. And it's a big difference in color. Hopefully, shortly it will be the same. That's the plan anyway. If it's not, I'll do it again. Now, a big question in the industry is whether or not to rinse. Everybody asks, and we're first starting to get into this business, do you rinse your roofs? My answer is usually. And I rinse them partially. I don't want it to be to where I'm just leaving it like this, and the next rain or whatever it comes in, and it's sweating, and it's putting all that stuff into the downspouts, and plus I want to take those bags with me. So what I'm going to do is, got everything pretty heavily treated. So I have this full 200 feet of 5/8 hose full of a pretty heavy strength roof solution. So what I'm going to do now is pop down. We'll have some clean spots on the driveway. What I want to do is go over to the truck, switch. I showed you I've got a rinse out section or option on my bleach line here. So this 3-way valve switches it to water. So now there's water coming up through this bleach line. So when I go to rinse, I'm not only clearing out the line and rinsing my system out, but I'm also going to be rinsing the roof. I'm not sure how this is showing up, but you can see that white stuff is just eating it away. We didn't have any actual algae growing, so there's not going to be any of those little caterpillars up there, but it's just black, so that should come clean.